Hello and welcome. This is Spotlight and I am Comfort Musa, your host on the program. Spotlight is a co-production of Naya TV and Sister Speak 237. As usual on Spotlight, we bring to center stage conversations that are missing from mainstream media narratives. Today on Spotlight, we will be looking at the lack of women on popular conversations in Cameroon. If you watch Cameroonian TV, if you listen to Cameroonian radio shows, one thing you come away with is the fact that women are often missing on the programs that discuss politics, economics, but when it's social life and cooking and stuff like that, you have many women. And today on Spotlight, we're asking ourselves why? Where are the women? Why are they not present during these critical conversations? On Spotlight today, we have two very popular Cameroonian journalists. We have Sono Claudia, international journalist. I'm sure those of you who watch Africa News have seen her very beautiful face and her intelligent interventions on Africa News. Claudia, you're welcome to Spotlight.
Ooh, thank you so much. What an introduction. Thank you so much. It's a privilege to be here today to discuss why women like myself are not seen when we're talking very important things, economy, politics, and other things that really do determine the course of our lives. So It's a pleasure to be on set.
Spotlight today is star-studded. We have with us popular TV host of Press R and Twilight on CRTV, the one and only Moki Edwin Claudia. Did I get the pronunciation of Claudia right?
You spoke like a Banso lady. I come from Banso in the northwest region of Cameroon. Thank you very much for inviting me.
We're happy to have you, Moki. And Moki is one of the journalists that I listened to a lot growing up on CRTV, and it's an honor to have you here. And I'll start with Moki. Moki, you host Twilight and Press R, and these are weekly shows on CRTV with very huge audiences. And what is it that keeps you going every week? Because you've been at it, you've been in journalism for how many years?
About 20 years.
About 20 years, and you're still in the business.
Yeah.
What is it about journalism and your work, that has kept you in the profession this long?
The love for the profession, It's not by error that I joined journalism. I was a journalist at the age of barely 13 when I was in Form 4 in St. Augustine's College. So I started writing for Cameroon Tribune. There was a column, Deeds and Misdeeds Around the Country. And there they wrote, if you have anything happening in your community, around your community or society, you can post, write and send to this number, and you're not paying for the post office services. So I started writing from Kumbo as a student in St. Augustine's College, so in Form 4. And for over 2 years, I never knew my reports were published until one day.
In Cameroon Tribune?
In Cameroon Tribune.
That's the national daily?
The national daily. Until one day, Peter Adifonte, who was by then the Cameroon Tribune correspondent for Kumbo, came looking for me with some money. That time holiday was ending, we had to go to school, and he brought 240,000 francs that was paid from Cameroon Tribune. I was a student in St. Augustine. I had no money to pay for the school fees. I said, well, what is the money about? He told me, but you've been writing. My father did not believe, nobody believed what he was saying. So what happened was that he went and bought copies of Cameroon Tribune, and I saw Moki Edwin in almost everything that was happening that had to do with human interest in Kumbu. That's how I joined. So for the love of the profession, I've been there. People say, why are you there for a long time? Go and do UN jobs and something. Right. This is where I belong, journalism.
Right. And the power of your work, besides the money, do you see your work as important in society?
I'm sure if my work, if it wasn't that, you wouldn't have invited me. So I'm thinking that
it's for your impact.
And then I've gone beyond Cameroon. I report for 9 international media organs, Associated Press, I report for Deutsche Welle, SABC, I report for VOA. I mean, so many of them. I didn't go to them, they came to me because they saw the work I was doing. It impacted the lives of so many people.
You're definitely sought after, and I will be coming back to you on issues around Twilight and Press R, especially with representation and the absence of women on most of the TV shows that we have around Cameroon. Claudia, you have been a journalist. You are a prominent woman in media. And I think we've had these conversations about why don't we have women on popular TV shows each week when there is a poster. We always ask ourselves what's happening, and your concerns about it. Why are you always concerned when you see these TV programs and the posters announcing TV shows without the faces and names of women?
I think the very first thing that is of interest to me is the fact that there are so many women who are experts in all these fields. But unfortunately, they are not represented. I'm sure Moki, who hosts one of those very popular shows, will be telling us why they don't invite these women. But my concern is we have them. They're there. You have women who are engineers. You have women who are pilots. You have women who are doctors. But when you find panel discussions centering on very key issues where this women's expertise would have been employed, you don't find the women there. So I think that, and of course, the men cannot really tell the story from our own perspectives. We want these women to be there as experts to say it from a woman's viewpoint. So that's my very big concern when I don't find women on such platforms.
Right. And Moki, as a journalist who started off with human interest stories, why is representation important for you? Why is it that you seek out different sources and different perspectives when you go out to tell your stories?
Now, when you host a show like Twilight, which is a daily show on CRTV News, and Press Hour, which is weekly, you want representation. You want youth to be there. You want men to be there. You want women to be there. You want the set to look attractive. You want the young ones to see themselves represented. You want the women to see themselves represented. And you want the men to be represented. That is it. But it is always very difficult now. The old guard does not want to give way to the younger people. Let me get to political parties, for instance. If you were to go to the ruling party in Cameroon, the CPDM, if you call them now, I need somebody to speak. We have programs in the English language. They will tell you he's Ngole. He's been doing that for the past 10 years. It means that the women who are in that party don't want to act within their party. That give us a chance. We can also express ourselves. So the people who are coming also think it is their duty, it's their right. They have been there for a long time. They'll continue doing it. I asked myself if in that party, like other parties, women are asking to be given that position to speak. It also comes when you see them representation in politics. How many of them? It needs the President of the Republic to say, okay, increase the number to this before we accept your list. But women who constitute a majority, 52% of the population of Cameroon, they could do it among themselves. They can tell themselves, we are going to take it because this is democracy. And we have the numerical power, the strength, so we can do it. So I'm asking myself. Now, move to NGOs that have been operating in Cameroon. A lot of them were started by men. And men were looking for other men who could, you know, speak for the groups. So men started 20, 30, 40 years ago. At that time, women were still somewhat reluctant to speak, to belong. The men who started 20, 30 years ago don't want to give way to the women who are coming up now. And the women also are not pushing harder enough to be able to take positions in the party. I think these are some of the things that
So what I'm getting from you is, as a journalist, when you have a program, you want to follow the protocol in some institutions. You call the head of the institution and say, I need someone to speak on this topic and on this show. Usually they would recommend other men.
They recommend people who have been speaking, and people who have been speaking for the past are usually men.
Right.
You can't go to an institution like yours and ask a member to come and speak on the set without having authorization from the leader or the owner of that institution. Right. And so they have their people. Go to the ministries, who are the communication spokespersons. The whole, we have about 76 ministries in Cameroon. I don't think they're up to 10, 15. That have as communications or spokespersons women. So if you had to go to the Ministry of Transport as a woman, let me take another ministry like maybe education, and you have men there, the other ministries are men. They obviously say, okay, go and speak. Who will come? It will be the man who is in charge of communication.
So men are more predisposed to recommend other men for speaking opportunities. And what we're seeing is not only lack of representation in media, is lack of representation in societal life, in politics, in economics, is always the men. And we think that because media sets an agenda, it's important to start seeing women taking up these roles like Claudia was saying. But Claudia, that is Moki's experience. You as a female journalist, do you find it difficult to find female sources for your programs?
I would say no.
Okay.
Because I think that the problem is people don't put in as much effort as they should. in finding these experts. For example, I'm not saying that's what you do, Moki, but you could just get up one morning and your press forum is on Sunday, and on Saturday, maybe one of the men that you always have on your show is sick, he's traveled, and you're looking for a replacement, and you're calling a woman, hey Claudia, would you be available for press forum tomorrow? And I'm thinking, oh, my hair. What about my hair? My hair is not done, my nails. Because sincerely, I'm sure right now, people who are watching this show will be judging me about not having my nails done, not looking good, because women, the audience cares more about what the woman looks like instead of what the knowledge that she probably is spilling out. So if you reach out to these women within a very short period of time, they're unable to prepare. That's why I think that it will be hard for someone like you. But when I make a conscious effort. If I want a woman as expert on my show, I reach out to you weeks before, or minimum a week before I need you on my show, so that you can have the time to take equally permission from your husband, maybe, because if you're here, I'm not sure that you took permission from your wife before coming here. But trust me, if someone reached out to your wife to get her on, said, your wife will come and meet her, we should have to come and meet you, Daddy. There is this program, should I go? And if you say no, she's not going to be able to go. So even though you guys men recommend other men to be spokesperson, experts for shows, it's still the men that have the power to decide whether their wives or their daughters can be those experts. So I think that we should make very conscious efforts.
Claudia, I'm not interrupting you, but think of it. Yes, Press Eye is weekly, so you can prepare topics right ahead and call people. When you have a program like Twilight on CRTV News, which is a daily program and handles topical news issues of the day, don't expect me to call you 2 weeks to say there's going to be a plane crash in Marwa. Start preparing as a woman to be there. If there's a press crash at 1 o'clock, the program starts at 6, I need a guest. And I call the women who are there at the time, and they're not ready.
You call the women you have always called. That's why you'd have, like, on any political, if there's going to be a political analyst talking on CRTV, I will not think twice when it's Ngole that's introduced. It's easy, right? I've always had this person. I can always go back to this person. So probably you have 5 women that have always reached out to, hey, ma'am, I would want you on Twilight, which is daily. And because those women have always refused, you're reaching out to them. First week you already have a bias. You're just doing it to fulfill all righteousness.
But
so
Claudia,
that I reached out.
Claudia evokes a point which you are confirming, that when you call women at the nick of time, they are not available, but the men are available. And
I would have loved to give you some facts and figures about my own program, Twilight on CRTV News. In 2020, I had 72 programs. Those 72 programs, I invited 300 people. And for the 300 people I invited 135 women to the program. I have the list. For your information too, after the program, we'll tell you if you have any topic you are going to propose, expert in anything, send to us. Our numbers, I use the Facebook page, all the social media platforms and so on. Now, out of 135 women I invited, 43 came. Are you seeing the difference?
And what about the men?
All the men came, all of them.
And that's why we're having this conversation.
Let me finish. Then for the 43 women who came, 27 came very late. The program had started. All the men came early enough, including the Ngoles and the ministers you're talking about. Now, about 25 promised that they were coming, women, and never came. You're doing a live show. It starts at 6. It talks about topical news issues. You go and sit on the set and the guests are not there.
Okay.
My God, I cannot sit and be singing.
I know that.
On the set, you have to sit. People want to watch what people think about what has happened. So tell me, would you be scared about inviting women all the time when you try and they don't come?
You could be
skeptical. And before I finish, let me finish. I wanted to find out from the women, why are you not coming when I invite you?
I was going to ask
that's
that.
That's why we're having this conversation, because we need to fix it. We need more women on programs like Twilight, because it's national TV and they're talking about issues that affect us on the daily. We need more women represented and speaking in the spaces where, our contributions should matter.
Good. The first reason, no permission from office.
Yeah.
That you go to the Ministry of the Economy, you say, okay, let's meet the director who's talking about the public investment budget, somebody talking about the public investment budget and how it impacts the life of Cameroonians. You contact somebody you do from your own personal research, you can do it, a woman. In the evening, it tells you, I didn't have permission from office.
And usually the directors are men.
That's what he said. You said so yourself. So
another issue is the fear of the unknown. I have never been there before. How am I going to start?
Yeah.
Or with the crisis now in the Northwest and Southwest region, when they're women, because the program is in English,
Yeah.
they say, if they see me on national TV, it'll
could be
be
a
trouble.
target.
I'll be a target back home, especially if I say things that the other CAM does not accept. So they refuse to
That's a
come.
genuine fear.
And family issues. You also raised it,
Yeah,
Claudia.
of course.
My husband has refused. I'm going to prepare food for the children. The program is at 6 o'clock. I have to be in the house to prepare for my children, to take care of them coming back from school, and to make sure they go to school the next day. So family issues come. I want to think there's also a complex from you, the women. How would I look on TV? Am I going to be beautiful? My nails have not been
because
made
you
and so
men
on.
judge us based on the way we look.
Do you think that
It's
men should also look good?
Men should.
Men-
but
men-
no
men
man is
look
judged.
good,
Trust me.
But men are not judged. The society tends to judge women more based on their
Outward
looks than on their opinions. So, for example, on Twilight, if you have 4 guests, people will be looking at, look at her hair, look at her eyebrow. Nobody cares
It's
about
exactly
your
what's
eyebrows,
going on
which
right
is
now.
something we need to change because, like Claudia is saying, it scares a lot of women. If you call a woman at 4 to be on Twilight at what time the next day, midday,
Yeah.
she starts thinking, like Claudia was saying, oh, my hair, my nails, I need makeup. And that could scare a very knowledgeable woman from coming on set just because people will be looking at her hair and her nails. But for the men, they don't have that kind of pressure, which is something the media has to change. We need to show more women. We need to show that beauty is in different forms, and women can feel free in themselves.
What I would do is that I'll
Yeah.
find out next time if the women who refuse to come
Yeah.
explain us because their hair was not done.
They
or
won't
because
tell.
they have work.
I'm
Okay,
telling
we'll
you,
find out.
as
Claudia,
a
when
woman,
I called you for this
actually-
program, okay, I called Moki, and for this program, and I said, Moki, I would like you to be on set this day, this time. You said yes. You didn't need permission from
Anyone.
home authority. You just accepted. You made that decision based on your availability to come and talk. Claudia, what ran through your mind when I invited you to this
First,
program?
what am I going to wear? Oh, my hair is not done. My nails are not done. I didn't still get the time to have my nails done.
And you're worried, like someone
I'm
could be
worried
looking-
because trust me, they're judging me right now. But why did Claudia not do her nails? Was she taken on her wares? And the good thing is that I'm not yet married, so I didn't have to go to my husband to ask for permission.
if you were,
because
that would have
he
been-
would have, yes. And like he was saying, the men say no. It's the men who are the husbands who say no to their wives. It's the men who are directors who say no, I'm not going to give this collaborator of mine permission to go to Moki's program. So the power is in the hands of the man. So when we're talking about this, you men should be looking at, I think they have the bulk of the role to play in finding a solution. Because just like you have highlighted a million points, most of them are because a man has this to say
a man has
about
the
my
authority
being
to
on
give
that
permission.
platform.
So we're seeing gates. There are levels of permissions that most women need to pass through to be present publicly. There are the directors on the home front. There are the husbands
and the children.
and the children. And we're telling the directors and the husbands who constantly do not give their women the permission to speak, that they are denying, they are depriving our country of very great ideas. And come to think about it, why should knowledgeable women be held back by family structures? Women who have a lot to contribute in society.
And you know, I'm coming back to you, the women. I don't think you should only sit and talk without acting. To say, oh no, the men are not giving us permission. We're in a democracy like Cameroon. It's true we complain about so many things about our own democracy, but you have the numerical strength. Go to where the issues can be changed. Vote the people who give you power, who give you representation, who allow you to speak for them. That's what I think you women should do. And not, now, I want to come back to this. I'm sorry, to come back to what I was explained. And the women have very lofty ideas. I brought one to my set on Twilight, a student of the National Public Works School. As the program was ending, it was Emmanuel Nganu Jumisi, the minister was calling that, where is that girl was spoken? She spoke so brightly. She was very intelligent. She was speaking about construction of roads and why the roads are getting bad, and giving examples on where the government is not really controlling. That is
gaps.
the issue of women cooking food by the roadside and throwing soap when they wash the dishes. The girl came out with studies that it destroyed the road, and gave examples of places here in Cameroon's capital, Yaoundé, where you could see roads destroyed and women are standing by the roadside. Came out with men who change oil from vehicles and pour it by the roadside. And they go here, you will see it. So you women have lofty ideas. You can share the ideas, but I'm still asking myself, you have the power to change things. Why are you waiting for men to come and say,
we have the power to change things, and on Twilight, we are saying that the spirit of this program today is not, confirming to the status quo that say we need permission from men. We don't need permission. Personally, I belong to that school of thought that we don't need permission, to be our most authentic selves and to be vocal. That is why I'm putting the responsibility back on the media. Because this setup where a husband has to permit the wife to go and speak, even if the wife is an expert in engineering, this setup where in a particular ministry you have representation just from one minister or one group of persons is wrong, and the media set that agenda. Because why will a particular radio station or TV station have the same expert on the same topics every day for 5 years? We have a responsibility to change. I mean, Moki, on some of your programs, there's some names we've mentioned. It's the same names every day. Every day. Are we saying that these are the only people available? In fact, that's what we are saying when we keep on bringing only men and when we keep on bringing specific, specific people. I think the media has the power to introduce new systems where more women can come.
I agree with
on
you.
programs. The ball is in our court, really, to set a new agenda.
I completely agree with you on that. But before we get to talk about that, please permit me to come back to what Moki said. You said that women have the power to elect the people that should give them the right to not ask permission from their husbands or their bosses if they have to speak on certain platforms. If your wife has to do that, let's begin at the family level. Should she elect some other person if you've been denying her this permission to go to radio or TV? Should your wife organize an election?
Okay. But Claudia just said it, that she doesn't belong to that school of thought that she must ask permission to go. My wife should make me know that she has to go there by, maybe surprising me one day and going there and see people call and tell me she was fantastic, she was wonderful.
And if you went the other way, if she wasn't fantastic?
I will not dismiss her from my home because she went and participated in the show. I said, Madam, you can be better this way. It is true in a male society where men think the way they want things. Patriarchal society, they think the way they want to live it. But it is still the woman, I'm saying, to make things change.
The power is ours.
It is still the woman to tell the husband that I have to go. I'm going for this. It is important because of this. When you do it 2-3 times, the man will know that, no, it is not my duty to block you from going to express your views. It's about expressing your point of views. We are sitting here as like a tribune for the people. They come and express them for things to change, for society to evolve. So I don't think people should be blocking others, especially women, from doing that. If they did, it should be I'm not saying women should go out on a rebellion.
No.
But they can be soft.
But they're beautiful rebellions. I believe in disruptions. Well, we believe in order. We believe in protocol. If you are in a ministry and you have to speak on behalf of that ministry, there is due process. You must follow protocol. And we understand the need for respect and all of this. But these protocols, these traditions were set by the media. I still think that the media is what gives men, this idea that you can tell somebody not to go and talk, or this idea that women are not good enough. Some of the families that stop the women from going on air is just because they don't see enough women like that on air. True. They don't see, and it's an issue of representation. Last year on your show, out of 300 guests, you had about 40 that were women. So you have 40
out of 135 I invited.
At the end of the day, it was 40 out of 300 because the audience doesn't see the invitations that were turned down. We are seeing 40 women is to 300 men for a program that, ran through the whole year. And we are not seeing enough women. So the husbands sometimes when they say don't go on air, they think they're protecting their women. something could go wrong. People could judge you harshly. People could look at, and we need to change that. I think so.
I hope the 40 who came will be like the flag bearers of the other women, to know and other men to see that they also came and they did this. So, as I'm saying and insisting, we need to change a lot of things, from the narratives. I mean, from the representation in those political houses. Educate them. You have NGOs and sensitize them.
We need to change the agenda. We need more representation.
And not necessarily the media.
Of
the media is part.
The media will set the agenda.
But if I have a program in the evening, I invite women, I invite men. In the evening, if women don't come, what do you want me to do? To go and tell their husbands to allow them to come?
We are going to talk about strategy after this. We are in a new year, and hopefully we will see more women on critical programs, not only on CRTV. There are many journalists that are watching. We're going to take a break right now. When we come back, we'll look at strategies for better representation.
Nous avons pensé. Pour mieux répondre à vos attentes, nous avons rehaussé le standing.
Hotel Le Quai d'Orsay, better than what you imagine.
Welcome back. On Spotlight today, we've been talking about representation of women in public discourse in Cameroon. And we have Claudia, we have Moki, they're still here with me on the set. And we've been looking at why are women absent from prominent political debate in media. Moki made us to understand, and we know that this absence of women's voices is not only in media. Media is a reflection of public, political, and social life in Cameroon. We want to look at strategies on what are we as media people doing to change this, because media has the power to set the agenda for the community. Moki, last year, as you explained to us on one of your programs, you hosted 300 guests, 44 or so were women. When you looked at the statistics, what did you make of it, and did you decide to change anything, or you accepted it as a fate that, well, it's hard to get women on the program?
When you get women on a program, you have many more people watching that program. You have women who are also watching the program. You have people who want to see, what is she going to say that is new? Even for the beauty of that set, when a woman is there, it changes everything. So I would love to have more women. What do I do to, what did I do when it happened? Please, my dear, we're talking about a program on TV. We want your ideas. It's not a beauty context. Stop telling me that your hair is like this. I doubt whether the cameramen have been able to focus on their hair, that they see your hair. When you do the makeup, I think it's okay for a TV program. And my dress is not the most expensive dresses that you wear and come on TV, which are seen. They see the color of what you're putting on, not the quality of what is there. So I try to explain to them, not to forget about.
Some women actually tell you, my hair is not done, I'm not dressed.
It is not seen. Just keep it neat. And when it's neat, it's neat. TV sees it to be neat, and everybody sees it neat. The color, when it's good, it is good. On TV, I think TV is about colors. So I explain to them, please, we're not coming for a beauty context. We're coming to share ideas, to improve a lot of communities of people, of our country, of our society, of the world. So come to the set. Another thing I do, I tell them, when you say your husband refused, in this country, Cameroon, before, several years back, a woman could not travel out of the country without having permission from her husband. That law does not exist today. It is changed. Why was it changed? It's because the women canvass for it. Like, why is it I'm going on mission, I have to come and ask my husband when he says no? Is she the one recruiting me in the office? What if I'm dismissed from work? So it is, I've told the women, tell your husband, it's not a revolution. I'm calling, tell your husband that you're going to share ideas and may change even your household, your relatives, the communities. It's a matter of ideas, your vision of things. So these are some of the things that are happening. Now, you've noticed too that the women who did not come, they say, no, we're going to feed our children in the house in the evening. Men, please. It's not the woman who has to feed children in the house in the evening.
You.
Now you know that your wife is going to attend. It's an honor, it's a favor to call a woman to come and talk on national TV, or any platform, to share ideas, to influence things. So the husband should instead be happy and call the friends in the quarter and say, come and watch TV. You see my wife this evening sharing her ideas.
But it shouldn't even be that way. To begin with, it shouldn't be an honor for a woman to be on any platform.
No, when I say it's an honor to share ideas, not because of your personality, it's an honor that your ideas are being taken into consideration.
I understand that. My point is, women should be on those platforms
it should be
many
normal.
times that it should be normal. It shouldn't be anybody's honor to be there, because I'm not sure if you invite Ngole, it would be his honor. But if you were his wife, it's her honor to be there.
No,
so we need to normalize.
The context is honor, that you are bringing forth your ideas, not the personality you are seeing.
Okay.
You mean your honor to bring your ideas can influence something. I mean, for people to watch you so many at a particular moment. You could shout it in your quarter, everybody will not see as it's done on TV. That's why I'm using the word honor. I'm not saying that because a woman is there, it's because, no, that's what I'm saying. Let's be clear about the issue. So the men should be able to even be happy that, see, my wife is here, hear what she will say. You know, it goes. Who knows that tomorrow that is a woman who will be a minister of this or this, because the ideas are coming from somewhere.
So we're hearing a lot of pressure on women, you know, the pressure to look a certain way before they go on TV. And I think we need to look at how do we change this perspective. What kind of woman can be a guest on TV? It's not a beauty contest, like you said. Claudia, we're thinking strategies at this point. Going forward, what will you, or what are you as a media woman doing to normalize different shapes of beauty? I mean, you know, you don't need to look a certain way to be a guest on a TV or a radio program.
Okay, first, I think that we have to be ourselves without any apologies. The reason I finally decided I was going to come on set with my nails looking the way they do is so that women can see that as a media practitioner, I'm doing it. So it's okay to be you. If I came here today and there wasn't a makeup artist, I would still be on this set. So because I've accepted myself the way I am, this is to all the women out there, you're enough. You don't have to look a particular way. You don't have to wear the designer clothes to be anything extraordinary, because you're enough just as you are. So first I tell myself that, okay, Claudia, you're enough. So I think that that's what other women should be telling themselves. They're enough as they are. Like we said, Moki woke up this morning. I think when you called him, all he thought about was, okay, is this suit clean?
What
okay,
time
I'm going to wear black.
Be there?
What
Give
time
me the
should I be there?
directions.
That was it. So women should get to that point where all they can be concerned about is about when am I supposed to be there, and what color am I allowed to wear?
That's it.
Yes, I think that those two things should be the things that should be of concern to the women. And also, as a media practitioner, I should be the change that I want to see. How far do I go to ensure that we have gender parity on our sets? Like he said, he invited over 130 women, and only about 44 of them showed up at the end of the day. If I am hosting Twilight, I should go to 300, why not 400? Invite as many as possible, because I think if you doubled the number, you probably would have 80 or more. So as women and as men, now that you know you've been there and you've seen how difficult it is, I think if you go the extra mile, if you could just go the extra mile to encourage, like these other women, ask them, so why didn't you come? What actually stopped you? If they told you what stops them from coming, I think you could redress it from that standpoint. So we should do that. And equally, the managerial positions in most media houses are occupied by men.
I was going to ask that.
You should really be very intentional about inviting women, making sure you can make it your 2021 goal, or if it's too late for you, 2022 goal, to ensure that if you have 200 people on Twilight or on Press Forum,
Press Hour,
half of that number should be women, and half
being
of that
intentional
number,
about
they should be intentional. And equally, they can begin that within their offices Because let's say at the CRTV, you could have 10 managerial positions and 8 or 9 are men. You could equally, sincerely give way for your daughters to occupy those positions, because believe me, when women are producers, this is something that I didn't touch on earlier. When the women are producers or they are the moderators, we find that, interestingly enough, that they are able to find more women on their platforms.
That's the thing, Moki. There seems to be a relationship between the gender, the predominant gender on a particular program, and the guests. Most TV stations and shows are in Cameroon, predominantly managerial positions are men. Could that be a reason why it's hard for these producers and these managers to understand women and how to bring them on air? Like Claudia
I want to think, I don't think I've seen any studies indicating that, but I only think that it comes back to the presenters of the program. Where I work, I've never been told to take a man or a woman. They say produce a program. So whether the director is a man or a woman, it hasn't very much influence. It may that some women will be saying that, but in that house there are men everywhere.
It does.
Women,
there are actually studies that show that the management structure of a media house influences diversity. That when you have diversity in management, there's a reflection in diversity of sources and things like that.
But what I'm trying to say also, to add to what Claudia was saying before, is this issue of making it a policy at the level of all institutions, at the level of all non-governmental organizations, the sources, that please, it is not also good for the image of that structure to be seen male all the times. I mean, diversify from when you send people to come and participate in the program. Now, don't always say it's a male issue. Know that
it's a societal issue.
You should make people know that you, by the way, respect the agenda set by the international community on representation of women. We should not be talking about 30% ever since. It should be 40, 50, 70%. And if it is 30% that is respected at the National Assembly and the Senate in Cameroon, why don't we make it that 30% from the beginning at the level of people who come to participate, to take place in program? To say any minister is sending people, why not send a man and a woman? It's for the good image of the structure. And I was also developing this issue of men refusing that their wives should not go for programs. No.
You've probably heard that a lot, right?
Yes, it's really a problem. No.
Is it not unthinkable that in 2021, Moki, you still have very intelligent women who are being denied permission to contribute to nation building?
I don't want to insist very much on permission to go. I want to think that there are so many of those women who are good, who are not known by the media organs, the outlets, by us. I'm proposing what they call carnet address. That is us, the journalists, Journalism Association. We should be able to share, to say if you want an expert in maybe this topic, political issue, this woman is good. Because I may be running a program, I don't know, I may not be able to know everything. But we went in our various organizations, say, if you want let's make a list of all those women and publish them in our groups, that if you want the woman to talk about political issues, political economy, you can call this person. We have a list, so that from my list I have that we, the media personalities, have shared. You can go and look from the list and invite them.
That will be a very intentional move, which we need to step out of our safe spaces to make sure that we have more women on our sets this year. He talked about the issue of editorial policy, Claudia, making it policy in most media houses that representation is important. There are some media houses, permit me quote your own, on certain issues, if you don't have the voice of government on a story, it may not go, because that's your editorial policy, and you will make sure you find one. Imagine if we now talked about representation of women, even if the women said, my hair is not good, you will have to find a woman.
You're perfectly right, Claudia. But there is this, I mean, people think about certain things that are not really very true. Some people think that, some women have told me that no, if I go to CRTV, they'll be forcing me to talk about what the government is doing, and they'll not give me the opportunity to express my views.
I think so too.
Maybe some other people are doing the self-censorship. A journalist say, if I allow you to do
there's that
this,
level of censorship, Moki. There are producers who have invited women that I know, and they were cautioned on what to say and what not to say.
At times, people go out of the subject matter also. I hope it was not that you are going out of the subject matter. We were talking about...
No, it was just
I think going out of the subject matter is not a gender thing.
Anyone can
Men
stray.
do it just like women.
Anyone
It's not
can
a gender,
stray.
yes,
No, but-
everybody can.
Rest assured, my programs on CRTV, nobody, let me repeat again, hear me very well. Nobody, ever since I was recruited into CRTV, has ever told me that when a person comes, stop the person from saying this. Then what are we talking about? We're talking about a democratic country. It's that diversity that should come to the set. So women, do not be afraid when I call you to come for a program and thinking that when you come, I will be limiting you to talk about government issues. No. No CRTV person has ever instructed me to receive people who are supporting government. If that were the case, why should we be watching that type of channel? CRTV, I think it's not the case. I know people do it, but that should not be
That should not be
a factor that disturbs people.
Yeah. And now moving forward, we're getting some strategies about getting address books and Claudia talking about normalizing different forms of beauty. But now to the other media practitioners who are watching us, there are other colleagues who will still tell you, no, it's difficult. No, we can't find this woman. As a male producer and host, Moki, you have other peers who are in top management position. What are you telling them going forward in 2020 in terms of what we see on our screens as far as representation is concerned?
Television to me is the mirror of the society. And I think our Cameroonian society, our communities in Cameroon are not on the mirror. If I want to see myself in the mirror, I want to see myself. We want to see Cameroon. We want to see Africa. Would you see Cameroon that is only domineering one sex everywhere? No. Dear producer, dear manager, dear everybody, no. We want to see ourselves. Camerooners want to see themselves. Women want to see themselves. If we're talking about riding a bike, maybe we have very few women. It's understood. Now you don't have women there. We're talking about taxi drivers in town. I have seen 2 or 3. Would it not be very beautiful if a male is sitting there, another woman is seated there, also tell you the challenges go through, and how much men disturb her when she is. I mean, it adds to the beauty of the program, and it adds to the ideas. And when they're proposing, a man may not necessarily be speaking, giving the points of view of a woman. So make the directors and everybody make sure that, no, allow people to see themselves on their television, give their ideas on their TV. We can start changing our communities from now. Look at what is happening in North and South region. Who are those that can better influence those people fighting in the bushes? The women. If you come and you're bringing only the male
But
to come and
most
do,
dialogue programs are...
You don't have the women, even though women have been on protest to say we want an end to this this situation, we still do not find women on this platform.
Let them come, let them be accepted.
Claudia,
because when they're accepted, they're the wives. They're the ones whose children are killed every day, whose husbands are killed every day. They're the ones who feel the pinch. They're the ones who can talk to their children and their husbands, leave this thing in the bush and come out.
So we need to amplify their voices.
We need to.
Claudia, there is a pressure. I've talked to many women and asked, why are we not speaking up in spaces that matter? And many women tell me there is this pressure on not how they look, but the women second guess what they will say, feeling like I may not be very intelligent.
I may not be the expert that is needed.
And we have seen it on some programs, Moki. I mean, I've had different reviews of even some of your programs where the women come and speak and then people judge them and say, no, she didn't sound
intelligent
intelligent. She did. You know, do you feel that kind of pressure when you go on air as a woman? Like
Absolutely.
That you're not good enough and you need to study, you need to crack your head, you know, to sound intelligent.
Absolutely. But before this, I'll just say a very quick story. I remember I used to be very active on a WhatsApp group, and someone told me that they thought that it was a man that was using my number because I sounded too tough to be a woman. You see how women are being judged in the way that even if I sounded too intelligent, they'll be like, you're sounding too intelligent, you're sounding like a man now, you're not supposed to sound that way. So women have that pressure on them. And I was just going back to say that because women, we don't see too many see ourselves represented on these platforms, it affects us. Imagine our younger sisters now, if they don't see women on such platforms, they'll not believe that those are spaces where they have to come and have their voices heard as well. That's how deeply rooted it is. And let's just go back to, I'm doing some study now to see why we've probably not had a female president since independence. And I'm looking at the Constitution of Cameroon, and overwhelmingly, it's so masculine in nature. You would think that Cameroonians are all male. And like you said, the media is a reflection of the society. Yeah. So it goes, we have a role to play, regulators have a role to play. I don't want to say that mothers, because you were saying that it's the women's children that are being shot in those regions, it's their husbands that are being killed. But I think women have done quite a lot. They've done, I've not seen a group of men take to the streets to demand for an end to the crisis in the north and south regions.
Instead of being always on the streets,
the women are in the streets, the men are on the sets, you know, talking like the bosses. We need those who are actively involved to speak up. We need their voices. But now, those who are watching us are probably wondering, so what are the strategies? What are the tips? You know, we're going to take a little break and get some voices from other Cameroonians who are watching this, having their say on representation. And when we come back, we'd like to get 2 or 3 tips from you. I mean, you've been on TV, you're a TV expert. 1, 2 tips that people who are scared of getting on TV, you know, can learn so that they prepare for their next TV appearance.
Hello Spotlight viewers, I'm Tehmina Kaoosji, an independent broadcast journalist and gender activist based in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. I was delighted to receive Comfort's invitation to share about the importance of gender mainstreaming in media. A little bit about myself first. I currently anchor Money Matters, TV3 Malaysia's flagship financial talk show. I also anchor and produce Tea with Tehmina, my own online talk show focusing on women, society, and commerce. My work focuses on economics, politics, business, and technology issues. Nonetheless, social justice and gender mainstreaming are my key policy angles on every story. Now, this is critical as women's voices and expertise are regularly left out of hard news discussions and consequently, policy-making initiatives in society that address structural, institutional, and systemic inequalities. I genuinely feel that the ongoing COVID-19 pandemic presents the singular opportunity for pushing the agenda of women's representation in mainstream media. Seeing how deeply it has impacted our lived realities as women, be it through domestic violence, burden of unpaid care work, increasing unemployment, or challenges to SRHR access. Now, platforming women's voices has never been more critical, though the challenges for doing so are the same ones which have always plagued media, be it in Cameroon or Malaysia. Most importantly, lack of gender diversity in newsrooms and among our editors, combined with traditional low visibility of women experts and women's rights champions. This results in consistent manels, yes, those male-only panels, especially in broadcast media, which further entrenches singular narratives on all topics of national interest. But there's plenty to be done to increase women's representation in mainstream media. And personally, I found that putting in the legwork to research and network via social media to find new and even established expert female voices is priceless. What this does is gradually increase the pool of women experts and also integrating women's rights and many other minority issues into the narrative of national agendas. So, social media and digital platforms also offer the perfect alternative for discussing especially sensitive or taboo topics, just like Comfort does on Spotlight every week. So yes, in conclusion, while intersectional women's representation in mainstream media is still an uphill task, by amplifying existing female voices, constantly staying attuned for new ones, and ensuring gender-sensitive lens on current affairs coverage, broadcast journalists can really help normalize gender mainstreaming. Remember, the more we acknowledge and empower women's voices, the better and more inclusive our societies can be during our lifetimes.
Hi, Spotlight. My name is Tendai Garwe, aka Sokostina, which means the Queen Monkey. I am from Zimbabwe. I am a Zim Papers Television Network Features Director in charge of soft content and entertainment. I also am a radio presenter, a director of ceremonies, a public speaker, an actress. I am always in front of the camera, and I love the camera. I look good in front of the camera, regardless of how people are very harsh and people are very opinionated about how big I am and how full of life I am. It does not matter. Now, I want to encourage women to start stepping up and saying yes to being a resource person, yes to being a voice. You have a voice, you have the experience, you are actually educated, you are qualified to speak out on any topic, be it land, diamonds, politics, whatever it is. You have the power, you have the knowledge, and you even have the first-hand experience. Now, I hear a lot of people say women shy away from the media. No, they don't. It's that patriarchy has decided that men will speak first and women will nod and acknowledge. But the thing has changed now. Women should speak and women can speak. So the next time somebody reaches out to you and says, hey, can you comment on this? Can you comment on that? Please do comment. Yes, I know that the standards that have been set for women are higher and sometimes they're ridiculous and unattainable, but better to hear your voice than to have no voice at all, because there are too many men panels and there are too men splaining everything that doesn't make sense to society and how we encounter life thereof. So you should actually speak. Now, I know a lot of people are like, but how come you're so big and confident? How do you stand in front of thousands of people, hundreds of people, or speak at a time? Firstly, I am very conscious of what I wear. I always have a signature look. This is my signature look, African attire with a touch of glam. And I feel good for myself, not for other people. Secondly, I research well. Whether it's an event, whether it's me commenting on something, I read, I make sure I understand and know the subject, and I have references to the subject. And thirdly, I rehearse. I rehearse. And my father also taught me, always start with a joke or a philosophical statement. That's how I prepare to public speak. But that being said, ladies, it's your time to shine. There hasn't been any other time. If not now, when? Come on, girl. Bloom wherever you've been planted. Thank you, Spotlight, and thank you, Komi.
Hello, Christine Fonkam here. I am a sports culture journalist, master ceremony and voice actor. Now, to answer your question, Komi Musa, on whether I have a problem inviting women to my platforms or my shows, the answer is simple. No, I have no problem. But now, do I encounter a problem, when inviting the women? Of course, I do. Now, this is the problem I encounter: the lack of female experts in sufficient numbers. While I'm inviting them on my platform, I encounter that problem. We don't have many female experts in the different fields whatsoever, as compared to the men. And besides, we also realize that the women have more challenges. For example, in the sports domain, some of the games we used to present or we used to comment, because I'm a sports reporter, like I said, when we're commenting the World Cup 2018 Russia World Cup, we had difficulties having consultants who are ladies for the night games. That's very a crucial problem, because why? The woman has a home to take care of. Most of the times the man cannot cook. He doesn't take care of the children the way the woman should, and probably it's time, it's not time for the nanny to work because it's night time. So some nannies do not stay with the couple. So what happens is that the woman has to take care of her home and she can't be present.
Welcome back. We've been talking with Moki Edwin and Claudia Sono, both of them journalists. looking at the issue of representation of women in media. As we wrap off with the program, our desire is to see more women, you know, being part of the critical conversations we're having in Cameroon, more women on media platforms, more women on Twilight and Press R. And Moki, as we wrap off, any tips? I mean, you've been a journalist for 20 years. I'm sure you have some little secrets and tips, things that get you ready, you know, to go on air. Can you share some of these tips and secrets with the women who are watching us and would want to be on your program and would want to accept more invitations and would want to create their own spaces where they can speak up and be heard across the nations? You, and then Claudia also said, at times women come on the set and then people criticize, oh, she was not fantastic, she was not doing this. Quite often it is true because of fright. When you're on that set, on the TV set, they put in their minds, the country's watching me, everybody watching. No. Please, speak as if you were discussing with your husband in the house. You'll be happy talking and seeing him. I mean, all of you will be happy and people will be happy seeing you. Don't put in your brain, your mind, that millions of people are watching you. Just say you're there. I mean, it goes. And don't be frightened. We're speaking here, discussing, it's a discussion. It is nothing that we're taking to sell if you said something wrong or right. No, you're just giving your points of view and speaking the best of moments. People are also frightened about what I put in. I just say it was not a beauty contest. I said, you're going there to share your ideas. Don't be saying that, no, the dress I have is like this. Talk about the color of the dress. And blue is very good for TV, you know, and it goes. So these are some of the things I want women to put in consideration. But most importantly, the tip I have for the journalists is to explore more. At times, we only stay in our safe havens. We say, no, I already have with politics. If it is this, this one is there. And then you the same resource persons.
Then it becomes boring.
True.
Boring. The people are even saying the same thing. What they said 10 years ago is what they are saying now because their minds are fixed towards one objective. Bring that woman who will come there. And the way they even say it, you know, at times it is so violent, so brutal. But the woman has that soft way of expressing something. I have that way of communicating visually that you say this is what she's saying. So I think these are some of the issues I want us, the media persons, and the women who are coming to take into consideration. Yeah, and I hope when next we meet you, we'll have a testimony of more women on your program. I wanted to, I'm sorry, to say this before leaving, that what we're saying about women holds for those communities, those indigenous people, Mboros and so on. Other unrepresented groups. You would imagine that on national television, we didn't have anybody from those communities presenting a program or reporting. But if you watch CRTV, you will see Sally presenting the midday news and other newscasts. It took time. It took time. I went and saw hierarchy, but every time you say these girls should go to school, let us see them. When we watch them on TV doing the news, their sisters back at home will be inspired. Will be able to say, so if I go to school, I'll be able to be like this girl, and they'll go to school. The effects. You don't know that some communities in Sabga, Northwest region, contributed and bought meat, a cow, and sent. When Sally started doing that, they said, thank you very much for what they did. Because I was doing it in connection with Boscoot and Boro Association. They go and meet hierarchy executives. Tell them that we need this. Oh, okay. I wanted to share this story. That's and it's a very inspiring story, the power of representation to inspire more people. Claudia, any tips you want to leave us with?
Firstly, I'm going to be telling the women that your opinions are valid and they are very important and they have to be heard. Nothing should stop you, not the criticism you're going to be receiving from out there, which actually leads to depression, not just for women, but for men as well. But that shouldn't stop you because you know your voice should be loud enough, it should be heard. And most importantly, I want you, the women, to remember that you're setting the pace for your daughters to follow. It's only when they see you in these media spaces that they would believe that they can be the voice that you probably were. So you should always put that in your mind when you get an invitation. Don't reject it. Look at the baby you're carrying and say, okay, I'm going to go to CRTV and speak just because. Or to any other TV station. Or to any other, actually. Just because I want my daughter to grow up and not and have the freedom to air her views. And to our colleagues out there, to the journalists, like Moki said, I think we should go the extra mile. Don't say I invited 300 people and 44 showed up, so next time I'm not going to invite women. Invite 1,000. If it's going to make sure that you have
whatever it takes to bring the women,
to have the parity. And back to managers now, we should make it policies. This is 2021. I don't want to be watching Press Hour on Sunday and I'm seeing 5 men. I want to see at least 2 men, 2 women, and then the moderator. And equally, I'm looking forward to seeing that moderators of such programs can be women. I want to watch Press Hour and see a woman moderate it. Why not?
Thank you very much, Moki. Thank you, Claudia. Representation is very beautiful. The future, of course, is inclusive. We are keen on representation in media and public spaces in Cameroon. And for you who is watching, you do not need an invitation from us, you know, to speak out and share your opinions. Please, let's continue these conversations on our social media pages. And of course, give us your feedback. We want to encourage as many voices as possible because like Moki and Claudia have shared with us today, representation is very powerful to inspire the next generation of Cameroonians. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for being with us tonight on Spotlight. Enjoy the rest of your day.